In the world of social media, your networks are only as good as your strategy. But how do you know if your strategy is actually working? A social media audit can answer this question while giving your strategy and your skills a major glow up. Hey everyone, I'm Carly with Sprout Social. Today, I'm going to give you the steps you need to perform a social media audit, plus a free resource that will help you do your own. Before we get into giving your strategy a makeover, social media moves fast. Subscribe to our channel to keep up. So, what is a social media audit? Basically, it's the process of reviewing your business metrics on each social platform to assess growth, opportunities, and what can be done to improve your social presence. An audit also helps you find answers to questions that you and your boss really want to know, like how's our growth on social? Are we feeding larger business goals? Am I making an impact on our bottom line? If you already have a social media strategy, an audit is like a medical checkup to make sure that strategy is effective. And if you don't, an audit can help you create one. I recommend doing an audit quarterly for real-time adjustments, as well as yearly and at the start of a new job to understand the brand's social media health. Between creating content, responding to comments, and explaining why you don't need a new hashtag for everything, adding another piece to your process can sound daunting. That's why we wanted to make it easier for you with a social media audit template. From automatic calculations for metrics to providing tips, it does the heavy lifting for you. But before diving into the template, let's talk about 7 steps to confidently conduct a social media audit, starting with defining your goals. It's hard to keep your eyes on the prize when you don't know what that prize is. To see how your platforms are doing, you first need to know what success looks like on each of them. This is where defining goals comes in. Some common social media goals are increasing brand awareness, generating more leads and sales, increasing community engagement, and growing your followers or subscribers. It's okay to have different goals for each platform. Just identify them now to set the stage for the rest of your audit. Then you're ready for step 2. Make a list of your social accounts. I know this sounds obvious, but hear me out. Yes, your audit will focus on the platforms you use most, but this is your chance to look beyond the big platforms and take inventory of all of your accounts, even that TikTok account you haven't posted on since the berries and cream trend. Looking at platforms you're less active on might reveal new opportunities to grow. If you're not active on YouTube, but you're super active on TikTok, maybe it's time to try YouTube Shorts. This also helps you find old accounts you might not even know exist. When you work somewhere with a lot of different departments, like in higher education, individual accounts can add up. Indiana University, for example, told us they had 600 accounts in 2017. Look for rogue accounts. Are they still in your control? Relevant to your goals? And if there are accounts that haven't been used in years, can you evolve or even delete them? Once you've taken inventory, decide what platforms you want to prioritize. Then move on to step 3. Check your branding. While each of your channels might have different goals, their voice and brand persona should be the same. Having similar colors and images, messaging, and campaigns across platforms ties your accounts together, and that gives your audience a consistent experience. This is especially important to pay attention to if you use your cover images and bios to promote campaigns. To check your branding, pay attention to areas like your profile and banner images, bio or about language, URLs, the hashtags you use, and the actual creative and copy that you post. Now it's time to switch from your right brain to your left brain and dig into your analytics. Social media friends, you know what time it is. Grab your data analyst hat. This is the heart of your audit. Your data tells you if you're hitting your goals and where you could use some polishing. Focus on metrics related to those goals you set earlier. If your TikTok goal is to grow your audience, then impressions, reach, views, and follows might matter more than comments. Each platform will have its own insight section with the core analytics you need for your audit. But some, like TikTok, don't keep data past a certain point. So remember to pull that data regularly. In Sprout, this data is already pulled for you across networks in one place. And there's no time limit on your data points, not even for TikTok. In our template, you'll find suggested metrics to get you started, but customize it to the metrics that matter most to your goals. Then all you have to do is plug in a podcast while you plug in your numbers. Bringing it back to the human element, our next step is to get to know your audience. From the messaging in your posts to the platforms you use, everything comes back to your audience. Knowing the basics about who you're posting for will inform what you post, and posting content designed for your audience helps you reach and connect with them. Get to know them by looking at your demographic data. How old are they? What time zone are they in? And how do they consume content? Find this data in the Insights section of your native social platforms. If your audience demographics don't line up with your target audience, you might need a strategy adjustment. You'll likely have a few target audiences. For example, a coffee shop might use Facebook to connect with parents and adults, and TikTok for college students and young professionals. In this case, evaluate how well you're reaching each of your networks. Now that you know who your audience is, find out what they like by looking at your top posts. At the risk of being too buzzwordy, content really is king. Looking at your most successful post can tell you what resonates with your audience. Look for patterns in content types like short videos versus photos, different topics, and the time that they were published. For example, if I find out that pictures of iced lattes perform better than pictures of coffee beans, I should start prioritizing iced latte content and rethinking when to incorporate coffee bean visuals in my content calendar. Looking at outliers can also help you identify topics and post types you didn't know your audience liked. Now that you have all the puzzle pieces, it's time to put them together by analyzing your findings. This step is all about deciding what's next for your strategy. The best way to do this is with a SWOT analysis. This looks at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Look at your data and ask questions like, what kind of content should we do more or less of? Are we reaching the right audience? What platforms aren't hitting their goals, and how can we adjust? Use these findings to decide on next steps and to evolve your strategy for each platform. A social media audit can be as light or as in-depth as you want. You can even level up and add competitor analysis, a paid ads audit, and more. Either way, an audit doesn't have to end in pulling your hair out. Using our template as you go through the steps in this video will make your audit less stressful and more successful. Let me show you some highlights. The Summary tab is where you'll get a high-level view of how your platforms and your team are performing. These totals are all calculated automatically for you. In each tab, you'll find a different social platform. And throughout the spreadsheet, you'll find suggested metrics, a section to analyze your audience, plus a space for your SWOT analysis and next steps. And there's a ton more in there. Check out the How to Use This Template tab to explore further. You have the template, you have the steps. All you need to do now is polish your strategy. Happy auditing! Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more social media tips. And sign up for Sprout Social for free for 30 days to make auditing and managing your social networks a breeze. Sign up at the link in the description. See you next time.